Hey, welcome back. Just wanted to do a quick video. My wife and I just picked up another collection somebody was getting rid of, so I just wanted to kind of show off like what these collections look like, kind of when they come in, and then what my process was. So I usually will see something like this, like papers where they've used like the old school way of tracking what their rares are and the quantities of cards. So pretty cool. I've seen people do it with like spreadsheets and stuff like that, but yeah, and I think whoever's selling it tracked it all relatively recently, so that was kind of cool. So I had a pretty good idea. There was still like rares, and there's some Proteus stuff in here. It was just this stack here is the stuff I've like pulled out of it. I've like picked out of it, so not all of that's rares. My process, like, I think a lot of people that are buying and collecting Netrunner right now really want it like a complete set. So whatever that means to them, I think for a lot of people it means I want one of every card from, the first set and Proteus. And I mean, we all wish we had at least one card of every classic card, but that's kind of a pipe dream for most of us. I don't really collect that way. I don't really collect in sets like that. If I can find people selling Netrunner cards, I'll buy them. If it's a reasonable price, or we can work out a trade deal. I usually like doing trades if possible for like old Magic cards or whatever. So yeah, I'll just pull out the rares, and I don't have all the rares memorized. So like I'll basically just go through. Right now this is a BCW 4-row box that was sent, and the guy shipped it really well. But these boxes, they get haggard in transport and stuff. So you'll usually see these old style little jewel cases, much more thin and flimsy than what's on the market today. There's just 2 rows that were like, basically it was all spaced out in these little boxes, but once I've got all the cards put together, it's basically maybe 2.5 rows. So I would estimate it's probably about 3,000 cards total ish, give or take. I spent $350 on this collection, and so I just wanted to kind of go through and show you like what we pulled out of it, at least so far. I still have a little bit. I need to go over it again and stuff, but that's kind of an idea. So we'll go through, and again, I don't have all the rares memorized yet, especially from Proteus, but we're getting there. So Airport Locker, pretty sure that's a rare. I don't think I had one of that. A lot of these Proteus rares I didn't have, because the collections that I've gotten at this point have had Proteus in them, but not tons of Proteus rares. Live newsfeed, I think I had a pre-range drop. The cards are in good shape. They have a little bit of bending, but it's not bad. They're totally playable. They're not really damaged. It's just that normal wear and tear of time. Cards are old now. The other thing, if you ever do pick up these old cards, they have kind of a musty smell to them, and that's pretty. All the cards I bought have had that, and I don't think it's cigarette, because I would smell that. There's a certain, like, I don't know if it's degradation of the ink or something, but yeah, if you ever get old cards and they have like a weird smell to them, I think it's just the old ink on the cards. I don't particularly love the smell, but I only have to deal with it when I'm building decks, and then they're in sleeves. Test spin. This is hitting a lot of these Proteus rares. Loosen drip for the deck. That card's interesting to me because it's kind of named. Let me switch my lighting here. The overhead lighting is not the best for this process. Is that a little better? That's better. I like the name of that card because, like, the deck, like, in Magic the Gathering, there was that card that was the deck, the deck to beat. So I had 2 of those in there. More Ice, Network Center. These are a lot of those Proteus rares. Research Bunker, I was psyched about. Yeah, kind of, what's that? It's kind of like, what is it? New Angeles Grid. It was in the core set of Android Netrunner, but it decreases the cost of agendas by 1. So, the fast advanced kind of strategy. So that's cool. Some more upgrades, Network Center. And I don't have the whole card pool memorized either in this old one. I'm still working on that. Rent to own contract. That's an uncommon, but I'm excited to build there's an old deck called Rent to Own. It works similar to the idea of Oversay AI for Android Netrunner, where you're like, oh, I'm going to res my ice for 0, and then it won't stick around forever, or there's going to be some cost. Siren's another uncommon. This one's really cool because it's like, when you install it, you have to immediately res it, and then when the runner attempts to make a run, so I'll just read it. So for 1 bit, if possible, the runner must make a run on the fort siren is installed in. Instead, on the fort he or she was originally going to make a run on. Use this ability only at the start of a run. And so, you know, I like this idea of like forcing them to like try to run on a trap or something, but you'd have to use like the plaza grid, like I think it's Nakatomi Plaza grid, that upgrade so that you could put a trap node in there with a siren, force them to run it, and then I have to look up how exactly that interaction would work. But I don't know. I want to play around with that. It seems kind of a fun thing. Some more rares, another siren I pulled out. Department of Misinformation. I don't know why. There's just like these certain cards that just like really call out to me. There's something about this illustration that's just like so. I don't know. It's like something creepy. It's like these like I don't know, creepy cyberpunk scientists. I don't know. I think it's also just like the high contrast. You have like the green border with the pink in there. I don't know. That's cool. Vienna, psyched to find. There's a couple of those. Little virus program. Again, a lot of these illustrations are cool. There's Vienna. Taxman. I love Taxman. I have one of my decks as a Taxman deck. I always pull out accounts receivable just because it's, you know, like I just like to have those all in one spot. So I pull those aside. Some runner programs. Incubator, Miss for Sale, more Lucid Dream, some more rent to own contracts, wired switch. I think I was checking to see. I was like, man, I don't recognize that. It's not. It's a common, but so that one's not supposed to be in there. Swiss bank account, I think, is in that same thing. This one's really cool. This kind of reminds me of that like street peddler card, but it's I don't know why. It's streetwear distributor, so you can take a bit from it if it has any bits on it. And then you can spend 3 to load it up. It's just a really cool drip economy for the runner, and it only installs for 1. Super cool little buggy, like hover buggy. I don't know. This card is a total win in my book. Runner Sensei, really cool. Link card, just increase your base link. And gives you bonuses gives you money when you succeed. R&D Mall, I don't think that's a rare. I think that's like an uncommon. Precision Bribery is like so freaking awesome. I like love that card, and I wish that card existed back in the day when NBN controlling a message. I think I've said that in another video, but that card's awesome. What are these? I think I might have accidentally put a stack of stuff that's not supposed to be in here. Backdoor Rivals is really cool. Just a little link bonus card. Oh, another airport locker. I think that's an uncommon though. Yeah, it looks like at some point we got some just commons and uncommons mixed into, like from Proteus. That's okay. We'll have to go through all that and figure that out. And that is a-okay. Skip through this chunk. Test spin. That's a rare. There's probably a lot of rares here. Demolition Run, Bargain with Viacox. Dude, there's 2 Bargain with Viacox, which I was psyched about. I had 1. I love Bargain with Viacox. It's just like, it's just awesome. It kind of reminds me of that floating head in The Last Starfighter. Zur, Conan Armada. I don't know. There's a deep cut for you. Yeah, really like that art a lot. So I was psyched. Blackmail. I think there's actually a couple blackmails, so we'll set that aside. Yeah, there's another blackmail. It's one that it's a way to get agenda points, you know, without actually liberating. AI board members, psyched to find that quintessential classic Netrunner art. Fetal AI. Sorry I'm going through these fast. It's kind of showing off what we pulled out of the collection. AI board member. Yeah, that's got to be just a freaking common or something. Backdoor Rivals. We'll have to sort some of this out. There's more sirens. Please don't choke anyone. That is a rare agenda. Fetal AI, the original Fetal AI. Super cool. Yeah, Rick Berry's stuff is awesome. He also does the R&D Mole, which I believe this is the art that you see on the front of the Proteus box. Just this very distinctive style. I really like that Rick Berry stuff. Frame up. I think that one goes there. Just doing some sort of sorting. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go through with a fine tooth comb and actually, dude, remote detonator, crazy. It costs 7. Play only if you made a successful run on a data fort this turn. Trash all rezzed ice on that fort, and the corp gives you 3 tags. Dude, just freaking burn a whole server down. That's crazy. So I guess the way you could play around this is the corp is just don't res ice. But if you have a fully res server and they crank it down, then your server's just gone. So that's rough. It's not even a rare either. Stakeout, I think it's rare. I don't know. You guys are gonna be like watching me like, actually you're wrong. Dude, friggin' 3 AI board, 4 AI boards. See, this is awesome. Random. So it's just let's see. Let's read it. You may gain an action during each of your turns. At the start of each of your turns, roll a die to see what the action will be for that turn, and then decide whether to take it. So on a 1, you may use the action only to install a card. 2 or 3, you gain a bit. 4, 5, or 6, only to draw a card. So you get a 4 action turn, but it's like some randomization in there. There's certain art that I feel like was used in a lot of the marketing and like articles you'll find for Netrunner and like in the Duelist magazine. This was one of those arts. So it's just, that's that part of the reason I wanted this card a lot is because it is that kind of classic style. And I probably already have one in my other thing, but to have like more is great. So that one's one I'm psyched about. Colonial Failure, I think there was 2 of those. Super pumped about that rare. Just a big old beefy sentry. Resist for 17. That's insane. I think that might actually be the most expensive sentry in the game. Trashes programs and ends your run. It just makes you have a bad day. 5 subroutines. Crazy. That's I think a common. So that's Mobile Barricade, Rare Ice, Iceberg, another Colonial Failure. New Blood's rare, more account receivable. There's Omni Kesmet. That's the anagram for my Pawnsmith, which is cool. New Galveston State Grid. That's just a 1.0. That's got to be a rare because I don't see it that often. The other thing too is like they did not print like when I go through all my Netrunner cards, like there's big stacks of ice in every card type, but upgrades are just not super common in an original Netrunner. Like there's just not tons of them. So that's, I don't know, upgrades are kind of a cool thing to find. Crybaby, awesome, little ambush. Jenny Jet, I'm pretty sure I did not have a Jenny Jet, so I'm psyched about that. Whenever a runner makes a successful run on this fort, you may choose an ice card stored in HQ. Install that piece of ice on this fort in the innermost position, paying an installation cost of 1 for each piece. Yeah, so you have to pay for the layer. The runner is now considered to be approaching that piece of ice. Yeah. Yep. So you get to do some bounce around shenanigans. So it reminds me of like Genteki. Cool. Roving Submarine. Cool. Extra. Another Top Runners Conference is one I was really pumped about. Bartmoss from Memorial Icebreaker. Really cool. Again, that's referencing Arash Bartmoss from Cyberpunk. Another really cool art from Mark Poole there. Deep Thought. Okay, here's one I was pumped about. I did not have an Evil Twin, and I'm pretty sure we found 2 of these. So it's a little Sentry Breaker. Super awesome. That Mark Tedden art is just, oof, chef's kiss. And yeah, if I end up going to this Magic convention in October that's nearby, I am definitely taking some cards because I think he usually goes to those, at least from what I know. Then Endless Corridors, Fatal Attractor. I love Fatal Attractor. Super happy to find one. Nerve Labyrinth. A lot of these are just like my favorite ice. Laser Wall might be my favorite ice. It's just like so cool. Sentinels Prime, that's what's this again. Common, Rocket Strong. Razor Wires are rare. Shotgun Wire, Wall of Ice. Record Reconstructor. I think this has got an Android. This is like kind of a bad card. I don't know. At least I don't know how to make it cool. For an action, you can make it around on archives. Successful, you don't access cards from it, but instead you shuffle the face-up pile of the archives and put the top 2 cards from that pile on R&D. So most of the time you don't really want to give the corp more cards, but I guess in certain scenarios, like, if they're they're trying to draw into their winning agenda or something, maybe that can be a cool thing. Randy Gallegos, Microtech Trode set, awesome hand-painted art. Air socket prototype, speed trap, poltergeist, yeah, program. Put 2 bits on poltergeist when it's installed. Use these bits only to pay for trashing nodes. If you use any of these bits to replace the scrubber, it's a scrubber or a wizard. Yep. Again, I played tons of Android Netrunner, so that's where I'm just like, oh, that's why I'm thinking about these Android Netrunner card names. Cortical scanner, another super sweet code gate. Hot tip from WNS. Scored an agenda point if you liberated any Black Ops agendas this turn. Kind of a build around, like, your opponent's playing Black Ops agendas. You can get a bonus agenda point, so that's really cool. Deal with Militech, Arasaka owns you, Desperate Competitor. Forged Activation Orders was a rare, and I don't know if I had any. I'll have to double check, but I think I found a couple in here. Forged Activation Orders, classic Android criminal card, found in that core set. Just choose a piece of ice, the corp either res that piece of ice or trashes it. Rough, especially in original Netrunner where you have really high costed ice. So that's probably why it was printed as a rare. It's just, you play that on an early turn. If the corp has less than, 6 bits, 7 bits, like, probably going to hit something with that Forged Activation Orders. Unless they're just, it's a good chance. So, Playful AI, got Richard Garfield's face on there. That's fun. Synchronized attack. Score goes in with that. Mr. Seal. Chief AI, Financial Officer, awesome. If you watched the gameplay video recently, my wife scored one of those. That was really cool. I hadn't fully understood the cards. That was really awesome. I think that's just an uncommon or something that I love. Corporate downsizing. Some of these are like to check. Like I need to check on if that's a rare or not. This one is a rare for sure. I got a rock, markedly better than Scorched Earth. I guess it's a node. So you have to forfeit 3 agenda points. Do 15 meat damage to the runner. Use this ability only if they have 2 or more tags. Crazy. And that's just an action. But I guess you have to forfeit the agenda points. Another important thing to note about in forfeiting agenda points in the original Netrunner is your agenda points was a pool. So you could like split it. You weren't forfeiting the agenda itself. You were forfeiting agenda points. So you could split things up. You didn't have to get rid of the powers of agendas necessarily that you unlocked. So interesting. Because of that, that also fuels that Psycho Tycho deck, because you have to forfeit 1 agenda point to, I think it's res. I'll cover that in another post or something, or video. But Psycho Tycho is crazy. Data Masons, Coder, yep, awesome. I really want to build an alt code gate deck. In fact, I had one in Android Netrunner. Just like, I love the idea of alt code gate deck, and that one is a crucial card for alt code gate deck. Just decreases their cost to res, and they get an additional end their own routine after their others. Super cool. It only trashes for 1 though, so that's kind of a sad thing, but super cool. There's no real rhyme or reason to how I'm slaying these out, other than like these are ones I'm slightly more excited about. So surveillance, trap. I don't think that mouse one. Sometimes it'll be like a card that I didn't see a lot of it in other collections, so I'm like, is that one rare? I need to check. Joan of Arc. There's that other evil twin. Another Memorial Icebreaker. Score. Mr. Sale. Inside Job. Just like common, but Inside Job is cool. Forged Activation Orders. The other, like, sometimes I'll set cards aside too from collections. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that this card has almost like a direct 1-to-1 Netrunner, analog. And because of that, those cards, even if they're uncommon or whatever, they're more desirable on the secondary market for this game, because you'll have, Android Netrunner players who are like, they might not be as familiar with this card pool, but like, oh yeah, that's like the original Inside Job or the original Sure Gamble, and that's, people like that. So you'll see on eBay a lot of times these types of cards that have a direct correlation to Android Netrunner or later installments of Netrunner they go for a little bit of a premium if you're buying them that way. Laser wire, love laser wire. I already said that. Ball and chain. That's what I need to check. I'm pretty sure ball and chain is a rare Slaughterhound. I love stuff that makes you just randomize. Action. Roll a die. If you roll less than or equal to the number of tags the runner has, a Slaughterhound does 10 meat damage and you trash it. Man, these massive amounts of damage. Pretty cool. Pretty sweet. But the runner also has, in this game, the runner also has like solutions to deal with that much meat damage. Like they have cards that like negate all incoming meat damage and you activate your clone backup or whatever. Omniscience, I need to check. Crumbs, I got a rock. New bloods, more accounts receivable. 24-hour surveillance, not sure. All these I gotta check. Data masons. It's like, kind of like the encoder ink, but for walls. But it decreases them by 2 bits and gives them +1 strength. So you could do a wall deck. Really like data masons, hacker tracker. Their forged activation. Score. I love finding scores too. Like these definitely always sell for a premium on eBay. Not that I'm not selling any cards, but I'll go to like buy stuff or like or just look to kind of watch what the market does for this game, and it seems like Score is one of those ones that people sell. And Fragmentation Storm, I think it's just I gotta check. Ball and Chain maybe. Crowns, some of these are probably uncommons. I don't know, got them all mixed up. All right, so that's the stuff that I've kind of pulled out. I need to finish going through this collection. If you are out there in the ether and you're watching these videos and you care about this game and you've seen any cards here and you're like, oh my gosh, I need that card to complete a set or whatever, or you just want it for a deck, that would be my hope, is that you want it to put into a deck that you're playing. But for whatever reason, if you need a card, feel free to message me. I'm open to trades for the most part. Yeah, and then if you are trying to sell your Netrunner cards or get rid of them, I'm also open to buying your old Netrunner cards because I'm weirdly obsessed with this game. Okay, thanks for watching.